From my mind, what makes California fruit is a little bit more consistent is that we've kind of figured out what type of soil condition, what type of weather patterns that you have is the best area to grow Pinot Noir. And we found that, nice cooler areas, cool at night, maybe a little bit warmer during the day, 80s and not too high into the hundreds and stuff like that. Well, it's more ideal for drinking and making Pinot Noir because you don't get the over ripe fruit all the time unless you purposely trying to do that. So I think that we're a little bit more consistent in it. We do have a tendency to get a little bit more alcohol, you say, than say Burgundy or say Oregon. But I think when you look at Northern California, I think we're pretty consistent at finding good location to grow Pinot Noir, and I think that's really the determinant factor. Burgundy, they don't get a lot of heat in the Burgundy area, so your alcohol normally is not as high, and the wine can last a lot longer. Of course, we make our wines in California so that they'll be able to be consumed a little bit earlier. Now, when I get into California itself, and I think about Corners, I think about the more dense, more, maybe a little bit more heartier of Pinot Noir, because you don't have a lot of, hot weather, in that Corners area. It's right close to the water. You get over in this Sonoma County, where I live, Sonoma County, Russian River Valley, ideal for Pinot Noir. Our property is maybe 3/4 of a mile from the Russian River, which, is nice and cool in there. When the ocean itself is about 45 miles away. It's nice and cool in that Russian River Valley where you get up in the 80s. Once in a while you get up, 95 or so like that. But normally it's in the 80s, and at night it kind of cools down. So you get more of a cherry, a real ripe plum kind of a fruit from that area. Not as dark as it is in Corners. And then when you get down to Monterey County, to the St. Lucia Highlands, particularly the upper part of the St. Lucia Highlands, around Soledad, in that area. I purchased fruit from the Garys and Rosella's vineyard and the Los Artures vineyard, which is owned by the Wagner family. And I tell you, that's an ideal area itself for growing a Pinot Noir. You still get that little dense kind of a fruit there. The acid can be high in that area, a lot higher than it is in, say, Russian River Valley, Sonoma County, or Corners, or in Napa area, and part of it is in Sonoma. But the acids can be pretty high down in the St. Lucia Highlands in Monterey County. And I think that when you get down past, Santa Barbara in that area, now you're picking up a little bit more, a little bit more riper fruit, a little bit lighter fruit, and you can kind of get more of what I call that candy apple, kind of a bright, sweet, kind of a, real cherry, real, not wild cherry, but real bean, kind of a light cherry kind of a wine. And with maybe a little bit of berries and the typical raspberry flavors down there. I don't think that that's a problem with that, but I think we're consistent in all the areas that, we're making Pinot Noir in. We're finding out that the temperature in itself in those areas makes a big difference in how Pinot Noir should be coming out, and how the trellising of the vines, and how you can actually, get the exposure to the grape, to the sunshine that you mean. That we can't change the sun, but we can change how the sun hit the fruit itself by the way we prune it, by we go out and pick the leaves off of it. So I think overall, Californians learn how to farm is the bottom line. Now Oregon, a lot of folks in Oregon, they kind of maybe lived or made wine in California, so they've taken a lot of the practice up there that we had. But they started out in Oregon using the fruit from that area and not trying to make it, a California Pinot Noir style. They started out really light because they didn't get a lot of sun, a lot of heat, so they were able to just make a wine from the area, and it was so different than California. And I can remember when I used to go up there and I taste those Pinot Noirs, and I used to think, oh, what do these guys think they're doing? Because I was adjusted to, drinking a little bit different style of Pinot Noir. But I think overall they're doing a great job, in making their Pinot Noirs up in Oregon and in parts of Washington as well now.